Coming up on Man Enough.
You know, we're trying to get guys to say, I love you. And many guys, they have trouble saying that. They're not ready for that. So we say, well, why don't you start with thank you? Because guys are good at saying thank you. Thanks for picking me up. Thanks for taking me to the game. Say thanks as a gateway emotion.
You know, we have a younger producer, and we were talking about saying I love you. And it's something that it took me a very long time to be able to do to my friends. And we asked him about it, and he's like, I don't know. I just feel like I see women saying it to each other, and it just feels meaningless, you know? Yeah. If we ever get to the point where men are saying I love you so much to each other that it's meaningless, we're in a very good place.
Being man enough, what does that mean?
It's really manly to mess up, admit you're wrong, and then grow.
I couldn't accept that I was evil, so maybe I'm broken, but those broken things could be corrected.
Intimacy between a father and a son is me just wanting to put my head in your lap.
I love you, son.
You haven't called me benevolent sexist, but my experience is women are better.
Even if it's a positive, it's still not equality.
I don't blame men for that. I just blame the system.
This
is
Man Enough.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Man Enough. We are here with my dear friend who?
Liz Plank.
And my brother
Christopher Rivas.
I'm Jamie Heath. And we're back for another episode where we talk about cool stuff and how to redefine masculinity and then figure out how we can be better as humans. And specifically, I think to be better as humans, that men have work that we need to do. And this is an opportunity for us to just go in deep. But let's talk about some stuff, like your outfit.
Oh, okay. We're going right into it.
Do you see? I mean, you should stand up for those who watch.
Great. I will.
Look.
I love this kind of attention. I love it. I don't.
I mean, come on, Liz. I just want to know if I can wear that.
Yes, we're switching outfits.
We're all switching.
We're all switching?
Yes.
Yeah.
And with our guests. They just don't know it yet.
And we have Chris. You are only planning to do a few episodes with us.
And then I guess I did a good job.
Yeah. And here you are again.
Yeah.
We love you and you're amazing and all the work that you do and your book Brown Enough and your podcast and all that and your acting and your authorship and all the stuff and your rock climbing and your tennis playing with your girl.
No more tennis, y'all. Tennis is bad news in the Rivas household.
But you also have a lot to share about this subject, so it's really wonderful to have you here again.
I'm grateful. Thanks, y'all.
Yes, indeed. So what are we getting into today? Who do we have?
We have guests that I'm really excited to have. Matt Ritter and Aaron Karo. I met Aaron at a wedding for our common friend, Kate Warhoff, who got married on New Year's Eve. We went to a New Year's Eve wedding, and we rocked the dance floor. There's a really funny video of the both of us dancing so hard into each other, just colliding and then apologizing and then going right back into grooving. But before I met Aaron at a wedding, I read about them in the New York Times because they have a very, very new but very popular already podcast called Man of the Year that's all about male friendship. So they have been best friends for 35 years.
35.
Which I have a lot of questions about how to, maintain that.
Yeah. How the hell you all do that, first of all, because 35 years is a long time to deal with one person over and over and over and over again and over again. And
Are you at 35 with Justin?
I am not at 35 with Justin. I could not last 35 years for sure with Justin. If you're hearing that, brother, after 25 years, we're done. No, 35 years actually, yes, because our parents were friends. But our friendship really developed 15 years ago to the depth that it is now. Anyways, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So excited to be here. I'm curious, what are your longest friendships currently? What's the longest you have?
I have known my best friend since we've been 3. We lived on the same street, and so 33 years. Yeah.
Afan, me, and Josh have known each other for 20 years.
20.
I
have a whole host of friends that I've known all of my life that we grew up together, and we're still very, very tight. So I'm 35 or 53, one of the two. I can't remember which one. But my closest group of friends, there's 3 guys that are my go-tos. Really 4, if I include my brother-in-law. And these are 15-year friendships that are, my adult, the ones that have helped shape me and reshape me and kind of pulled me out of my slumber. Friends that hold you accountable, also champion you in your successes, but also will pull you out of the shit.
Real friends.
Real friends, right? Which we want to get into.
Yeah.
I will say what's interesting about being friends with Matt's in second grade is that he's literally the same person that he was in second grade. And I'm not saying that's a good thing.
That feels like the most backhanded of compliments.
Like he has not changed. Just thinking about our interactions, like he would tease me, he would bully me, he would make outrageous claims that he heard from his older brother that he would pass along as fact that I would believe.
Same diet?
Well, I still have the same stomach issues. We have a running joke. So we're both stand-up comics, and for years and years, we'd be on tour both together and separately, and he'd be like, Matt, what did you eat before the show? He would text me. He'd go, what did you eat before the show? I'm like, I did it again. He goes, why? Because like early in our careers, we were touring together, and he knows I have horrible Jew stomach, like all kinds of
Jew stomach is actually, it's a term.
Carrying around Imodium, like I chew it like Pez. And right before the show, he's like, where were you? I'm like, oh, I just had some spicy tacos. He's like, why would you do that? He's like I'm about to go on to perform, and I'm like in the bathroom at a comedy club, which you never want to be in. That's like, there's like Major League Baseball stadium bathroom. That's above comedy club bathroom. And so, yeah, I just
and I'd say, why did you do that? And you said,
because
I hate myself.
I've learned to love myself. So I've changed because I actually have stopped eating spicy tacos before the shows. That's the one big change I've made.
I have IBS, which is that juice? Do you have IBS or is it really?
It's more like I self-diagnosed.
Okay,
Yeah.
But I also love spicy foods and I do it all the time to myself too.
I like to play that game, Imodium versus cheese.
You're listening to the Man Enough Podcast. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Jamie Heath from the Man Enough Podcast. Summer is right around the corner. And with the weather heating up like it is, it's more important than ever to stay hydrated and keep your electrolytes replenished. And that's where Element comes in. Element, spelled LMNT, is a simple, no sugar, artificial ingredients, coloring, gluten, or fillers added electrolyte booster. And it's suited to anyone following keto, low carb, whole foods, or paleo diets. Now, as you all know, I've been a fan of Element for some time now. Between rounds of golf, hot summer days with the kids, and the general stress of a busy life, I can easily forget to stay hydrated and lose out on all the benefits of electrolytes like better focus and higher energy. And Element is great for me because it has 0 sugar, and it's got rich flavors like chocolate caramel. Now, I'm a big caramel fan, so that works for me. And it makes it really easy to drink throughout the day. Now, Element is completely risk-free. If the salty taste isn't to your liking, simply share it with a friend and get your money back. Can't beat that. So head to drinkelement.com/manenough and for a limited time, get a free Element sample pack with any purchase. That's drinklmnt.com/manenough. Thank you to Element for supporting our show. All right. Welcome back to the Man Enough Podcast. So, hey, we want to start with a couple questions we want to ask you because we want to go in. Here, let me just frame this for myself. It's amazing that you guys are friends for this long, and that's wonderful. To me, I am curious to share with our audience and just with ourselves of like what the true meaning and purpose of friendship is. Of course, it's to like champion one another and have a good time and do all the stuff that we like, rock climbing or playing games or whatever. But there's got to be deeper meaning to friendship. Real purpose, why your friendship has lasted so long. It can't just be because you go to a game together. Mm-hmm. So I'd love for us to get into that. And before we do, let's ask a question. You want to ask them the question we always start this off with, which is,
Yeah, I know. When was the last time you didn't feel enough?
Like maybe 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Why is that?
When I was like, well, we walked into this beautiful studio and I was like, we're filming in we're recording our podcast in Matt's
Oh, really? You felt that?
back house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But by the way, that's total, we've been doing it for 3 months, but I'm still like, why don't we have a multi-million-dollar
He did actually say something about that. I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I didn't realize you were feeling that.
Yeah.
For me, it was actually yesterday playing tennis. I've just had this chip on my shoulder. I heard you mention tennis. We should become tennis buddies. I've had this chip on my shoulder for my whole life about how I grew up poor, and it wasn't like, I was dirt poor, but we were the poorest people in our town, which is almost worse. It was like middle class town, but we had the smallest house in it. And so I always felt a little insecure. I didn't have a baseball glove, which was a nightmare because I was left-handed and they didn't have a lefty mitt, so I had to like switch arms. Like, I don't know if you remember that pitcher, Jim Abbott, who was missing an arm and he had to take it off every time he fielded. So it was like a lot of that stuff going on. So for sports, I always just felt like, I didn't get the proper training or whatever. And as an adult, I've been trying to catch up just because I want it to be a social activity. So I tried golf for a while and I just could never crack it. And we talked about it on the pod. I came to the realization that it's not going to be golf for me and I can live with that. But I really want it to be tennis. So I've been taking tennis lessons like secretly for the past year because I wanted to like wait to play with my friends. So I've been taking secret lessons.
So Aaron didn't even know?
Yeah, no, he knew, but most people, like everybody else didn't know.
First year. Okay,
right, yeah, like first year knew. And so I just started playing again with my friends. Like somebody invited me to go play tennis yesterday. And like I've been taking these lessons for a year and I was still like, man, I should be better at this. You know, but I did actually feel good in some ways. Like it was both. It was like I felt like not enough because I was like, how can I still not be good enough to just like play like a normal adult? But at the same time, I was like, no, I'm proud of myself. I'm making strides and I'm trying.
Do you remember in, I think it was 8th or 9th grade where we were the last two going for the spot on the JV tennis team? We had to play each other for that last spot.
Yeah.
And who won?
Matt.
Yeah, so maybe I am enough.
So tell us, why are you guys friends for 35 years? Really, what is the foundation of your friendship?
Well, we always distill friendship down to 2 words: showing up. And Matt has always showed up for me, you know, whether it's when I need him, whether it's supporting me at one of my shows, whether it's just being a good friend. And I like to think I've done that for him.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would also say just, you know, talking about what is a deep, true friend is just, we always talk about this, like somebody you can laugh about the same story over and over and over and over again. It's just like these shared memories, I mean, is a big part of it. But I think you also have to grow with the person. It can't just be thinking back on things. It has to be like, who am I now and how do you support that? And Aaron's just the most supportive person that I know.
We say that a friend should help you grow, not change. So we want each other to grow, but we always want to stay the people that we.
That's why how constantly belittles me. So I could never change.
Unless, of course, there's something that needs to be changed.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I would consider that
we
growth.
call that growth. We're
growth.
making like little
But
distinctions.
how do you know? Because I think that's a really important point. I think it applies with people in romantic relationships, but friendships too. Like we were having this conversation earlier. How do you challenge or hold a friend accountable in a way that's loving? And how do you know that you're not just projecting what you think they should do, but that it is, you know, a point of growth for them?
It's funny. We talked about this because I actually was challenging Aaron to let me change. We were talking about this because I felt like the belittling. Well, no, honestly, like my friends belittle me because I'm into things that they're not into. Like I'm a big bird watcher, and I was like. And they're like, "Oh, you're just like that's such phony bullshit." And I'm like, "No, that's really something I really enjoy, and I feel like you guys are not like just accepting it, and it's getting a little annoying."
Yeah.
And so like I said that, and he was like, "You know what? You're right, Matt. Like I'm sorry." Like so, there is that like push and pull, but I think communication, like if you're close enough with somebody, part of being a really true and good friend is being able to have that communication and not have some like passive aggressive thing that builds and builds.
And has he ever done that for you, Aaron? What's an example of doing it in a way that's like
pretty perfect? So
how loud can I laugh to make it?
I'm trying to think of something that I tried to change or grow, and you put the kibosh, or the other way. Probably when I started really getting into shape.
Yeah, we liked old Karo. We called him old Karo. We call him old Karo because he was a drunken slob in his 30s, and he looked a lot older than he does now. He was a mess. He was too old to be getting that drunk. You know, like, when when you're like around in your 20s and everybody's like blackout drunk and it's fine, and then like in your 30s, it's like starts to get a little weird, and then like when you're 40, it's like. We got to check you in somewhere. We got to. There's a beautiful Malibu retreat calling your name. He was in that in between. It was still 30s, but he really pulled it together and like went all the way the other way. Because Aaron doesn't do anything half-assed. Right. That's what I really respect about him. I mean, he's so disciplined and like he will put 110% into anything that he's focused on, which is why he's been so successful. And so he just turned his life around. He was just like, I'm not going to be this person anymore. And then he got super into fitness.
Turning life around is a little bit of an exaggeration. It wasn't in the streets.
Right.
Just, have a couple cocktails. I just started working out more. I actually drink more than I did then. So it doesn't really totally add up. But
Also, the last time I saw you was at Sundance. I ran into them, and they're sitting at a booth, and they've just ordered like all these French fries.
Yeah.
And Aaron gets up to go to the bathroom. He makes everyone, he says, in the booth, so everyone has to get up. Then 15 minutes later, he has to go to the bathroom again. And then he comes back and he's like, I don't feel well. I think I'm going to throw up.
We were laughing so hard about how, because of the podcast, we're kind of like becoming each other and like it's not good in some ways. Like that's not, I was like, oh my God, he's got the idea. I passed it on to him.
the best is I told Liz, I'm like, I think it's altitude sickness.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Altitude.
When did you
It
start?
was altitude sickness, but also the pizza we ate at 3 a.m.
Right, I was going to say.
When did you start knowing that this was something special or worth thinking about or worth examining or worth, being like, there are 2 tenets to friendship or coming up with your mantras? Like, when did this start?
Well, I would say, a long time ago, we realized we had a special group of friends in our high school and middle school, like just the way other parents or other friends would talk about us as a collective unit. I only realized it later on, but I just, as we got older, I was like, I think we all started realizing how special that is as you get older. And so I think when Aaron started the Luger's tradition, that was really when it started becoming like, wow, we really have something worth exploring.
Should we
here.
tell them what this?
Yeah.
So Matt and I have been friends since 2nd grade. We're from Long Island. That's pronounced Long Island.
I love your coffee. Thank you so much for your coffee.
But our larger group is 9 guys, which is all like 4th or 5th grade. So around the same time, so about 35 years. And every year since college, on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the 9 of us gather at Peter Luger Steakhouse in Brooklyn, which is one of the oldest steakhouses in the country, and we vote on which of the friends had the best year. And then that winning friend wins our giant trophy. It's like about half a Stanley Cup. You get your name engraved on it, and then you keep the trophy for the rest of the year. That's the Man of the Year trophy. That's why our podcast is called Man of the Year. And this is going to be our 20th annual, this Tuesday before Thanksgiving, doing it. Wow. And as Matt would say, like, it's not really about the physical trophy. It's about bringing the 9 of us together physically once a year, but also group chat and texting 365 days a year about who's going to win, who's in the lead, and it's really kept us going strong.
Wow. Who started it? Whose idea was it?
So it was, I'm not going to take credit for it, but we started having a Friendsgiving dinner at Peter Luger's. Mm-hmm. I should also say that while the 9 of us are from New York, me, Matt, and a 3rd guy live in Southern California. Right. So now it's 3 and 6. Right. We fly in for it. So when the 9 of us were in New York, we'd gather for Friendsgiving, and one day we were like, who had a great year? Brian, you're the Man of the Year 2002 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And because I'm the historian of the group, I randomly started keeping track of it, like in a notes app. Mm. And so we actually had it going for a few years before we actually codified it with a trophy.
Mm. Wow. Beautiful. I mean, I just think this speaks to the importance of rituals. I think that there's a lot of things that play into how many social ties you're going to have in your life. And you guys talk about the 3rd place, and we'll get into all of that and all of the different ways that our society is not configured in a way where we're meeting a lot of new people. But to what you have with your friendship, I feel like I have with my family, where our people are like, your family's so close, and what you guys. But it's that we have these rituals. Like my dad made waffles every Sunday. Every Sunday of my life, my dad has made waffles. And that was just like a thing that wasn't a big deal to me, but that when I realized other families didn't necessarily have those little, and again, it's a small thing, but if you do it consistently, I don't know, do you think that rituals are, because I'm sure also there are people who are listening right now who are like, I want what you have. How do I do that? Do you think that the ritual was a big part of it?
Yes, absolutely. And it's one of our 10-pole things. Our podcast is about making new friends, maintaining friendships. And the 3rd piece is building traditions, because we absolutely stumbled into it in the way that you realized it from seeing other people not having it, how special what you had was. The last couple of years, people kept following the preview up to the dinner online. We would tweet about it or Instagram, and all of a sudden we realized people were invested in this thing that we were doing. And when we got to the why, it was like everybody's like, I wish I had something like that. I wish I had thought to do this. And I wish I had any of these sort of traditions. So for us, it's like We don't expect everybody to build a 9-person friend group or have this massive trophy. We would just like you to figure out something that you could do, even if it's with just one friend, that you anchor a tradition. You put something in the stake and says, because we know where we're going to be in 50 years with our friends. Aww. And that is an amazing thought to go, hey, we already know where we're going to be in 50 years with our friends. Beautiful. We're going to be at Luger's. And so I think if everybody can think about how do I maintain these friendships? The easiest way is just putting a stake in the ground and going, hey, every X day, once a year, we're here. And then that's, again, what he talked about, something to communicate about. Sometimes it feels hard to just reach out and go, I want to talk to this person. I don't have something specific to talk to them about.
And do all 9 show up every single time? Like, I think about life and getting older and babies and marriages and kids and jobs. And was it all of a sudden everyone committed no matter what? Or has that been difficult, or hard conversations about, like, you have to come to this? Or
Well, yes, the wives know. But Matt, you want to talk about when you almost didn't come?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, height of COVID, I was like, I can't. I'm not going to do it, guys. Whatever. I told everybody I'm not doing it, and my wife was like, absolutely not. You're absolutely doing this. She goes, do you have any idea how much this means to you? Wow. It didn't even I hadn't fully processed what this thing meant to all of us. She's like, you cannot miss this. She's like, just fly 24 hours. I'll see you tomorrow. Go turn around, go out with your boys. It's a big night. It's important to you. You need this in your life.
And then Matt got drunk. He lost his jacket. He almost missed his flight.
I was heading to London and Rome for my baby moon. No, that was a different year. I lose my jacket every year.
Every year.
I'm confusing the two. But this year I did it the night before our baby moon. My wife flew in also, and then we went on our baby moon the next day.
Oh.
Yeah.
can we chat about making new friends? So
Making new friends?
Yeah. Many moons ago, I went out to this bar. I had this great day, so I take myself to Father's office. I'm going to get a burger, watch the Knicks on TV. And this man is sitting next to me, and he gets a burger. We're both watching the same game. He's from Philly. I'm from New York. It's Knicks versus 76ers. And all of a sudden, we're chatting. The fries are good. Yeah, what'd you drink? Oh, tight, cool. Yeah, we get another beer. All of a sudden, third quarter, he's like, you want to split another burger? And I'm like, yeah, let's split another burger. This is what's up. And I'm having, like, the best first date of my life. I'm having the best first date of my life. We are vibing in every way you can vibe. And as the game's coming to a close, I'm like, how do I do this again? How do I ask for this man's number? I was in my 20s. I didn't know. But if it was a woman, done. Would have sealed the deal. But I didn't know. I just didn't know. And I could tell that both of us didn't know. Like, we were both navigating these feelings. These, like, we had
for clarity, you're saying first date. You mean as a friend. You're
as
not
a
talking
friend.
about that you were interested
Yeah, I'm just saying
romantically.
as a friend. Like, I had a lot of fun with this person I didn't know. And I was like, we could watch more games together, eat more burgers together. This could be our life. And and I could tell that both of us didn't know what to do. And then we had this awkward goodbye, and I never saw him again.
Oh, no.
And
We got to put this on Craigslist. Missed encounters.
Well, I know who it
find
is because when I got his name later, his name was Asher, and the whole time I was like, why is that so familiar? So if you're listening, Asher Roth, he's this rapper named Asher
Why
Roth.
don't you DM him
Asher
right
Roth.
now?
I
DM
know
him on
that guy.
Instagram.
Right now?
Yes, do
I know that
it.
guy.
Let's do it right now.
DM
You know that guy?
him.
I know of him. I'm saying,
Yeah.
If I was his friend, I would give you the
You know,
number.
one of the things we say
We're
is
gonna do it
it's
right now.
never,
never
too
too late.
late.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
never
all make a
too
video to
late.
Asher, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I love this.
Asher, this is Chris Rivas.
Liz Plank.
Matt Ritter.
Aaron Karo.
Jamie Heath.
That's the Man Enough podcast. We met many moons ago at a bar, and we were having a great time watching the Knicks and the 76ers, and I feel like we should have been friends, but then I let you walk away. And so hit me up, and let's make this happen.
Wow.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
That is literally like what we aspire to in our podcast, that everybody just does something. It doesn't have to be like a missed encounter, anything. Just it could be with your current friends, but just I just feel like friendship is this thing that we wing.
Yeah.
And we just, we see study after study of how important it is to your happiness and your longevity and all these other things that we think are important in our life. We put thought and effort into.
We read books about it,
We read
right?
books
Like
about-
a romantic connection. We'll
Totally.
like buy self-help books. We'll ask for advice. We'll go to therapy. We'll go to
Yeah.
couples therapy. But to your point with friendship, it's like we just think it's supposed to be easy. And sorry, I cut you off, but I just think it's
that's
such
right.
a good point.
But I also think, at least, especially for men, I think we treat it as a luxury instead of a
Yeah.
necessity.
So that's exactly, I would love to take it to this place. So Friendship, of course, you guys have this amazing friendship. A lot of us. I think men we have more successful, fun friendships than we do friendships that require going in deep. Right? So, like, you're married. I think you have a kid, right?
I have a kid next month, so I don't know when this is airing. Maybe I'll
Oh,
do
man.
I have a newborn boy.
Oh, fantastic. And how about you?
I'm the only single one in the group.
You're the only single one.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but you've gone through life and you've
One
had
guy got
ups and
married
downs.
twice. He lapped me.
He won Man of the Year the first time, which he should have gotten taken away. We have to figure out.
That's
a way to-
fantastic.
He proposed 2 weeks before the dinner to try to sneak it in,
Wow.
and then he got divorced.
Well, my point is to say that men, we go through stuff, all of us humans, but specifically about men. We go through life. We have struggles in our relationships, struggles with our parents. We have our own traumas. We have our own not feeling enough, whether it's financially or sports-wise or just showing up, whatever it may be. And oftentimes men don't talk about those things because we get together and we play sports and we go and have fun. But how often do we actually sit and be like, yo, what's going on in your life? How's your marriage? How are you doing at your job? How's everything with your mom? Stuff that we oftentimes sweep under the rug. So men don't always create those spaces. And you will look at friendships, and you've been friends 20 years, and then I'll ask guys like, how often have you gone in deep? And many have not, because we surround ourselves with all the fun stuff, right? The drinking and the going out and the sports and blah, blah, blah. And I think women do that better, or, they have these conversations. But it's really important for us to do it. If I hadn't had that, my life, you said your life completely didn't turn around, but maybe reshifted a bit.
Yeah.
My life had turned around. And it was because of friendship. Because when I was off course, I had some people that say, what the fuck? What are you doing? What's going on? And not just what are you doing, what's going on? Like, let's talk about what you're feeling. And you haven't dealt with some of this stuff, bro. So our purpose, so that, because I have kids now, I've got 4 kids. I want my sons to be better than me. I want them to advance society, humanity. I want them to care about stuff. And caring about things means you have to do work and have other people hold you accountable. And oftentimes that can come with friendship. So I have these men's groups. The purpose is to do that. It's not to go and necessarily have fun. We do that the other 23 hours a day. In this hour, in these 2 hours, let's talk about something that's going on. Kind of like a 12-step, let's say, if you will. But in a friendship, more casual at the home. And the purpose is to go in deep and uncover and unpack some things. Do you guys do anything of that nature? What do you think about that?
Well, I'd say one thing we are trying to do with the podcast is get guys to be more vulnerable with each other. One little hack we have is like, we're trying to get guys to say, I love you. And many guys, even Matt will say they're not used to that. They have trouble saying that. They're not ready for that. So we say, well, why don't you start with thank you? Because guys are good at saying thank you. Thanks for picking me up. Thanks for taking me to the game. Say thanks as a gateway emotion. So if you haven't said I love you to your buddies yet, say thank you. We do try to check in, if you want to talk about it a little bit, Matt, that guys do appreciate a check-in. We try to tell our listeners. Some people think that, well, whatever, what's the point? But that's ways to start small.
How do you do
a check-in is, yeah.
What does that look like?
A text, how are you? Almost what you're saying, Jamie. What's going on? What's going on with the job? What's going on with the girl? I don't feel like guys don't really check in that much. And that's like the entryway to getting deeper.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's funny you say, I think women definitely are better at this, because I noticed a couple of years ago, I would be out with my friends and I'd come back and my wife would be like, so how's Brian? I'm like, he's good. She'd be like, so how are his kids? I'm like, I don't know. How's his wife's new job? I don't know. How's his parents? His mom's sick. How's she doing?
Right.
I don't know. Wow, I really screwed up that whole encounter where I really did want to catch up, not just surface with my friend, but I totally failed at it. So now I'm a little more thoughtful about I really, even if we're just going to watch a game, I really make sure that I find out what's going on. And
Because chances are, there's 9 of you.
Yeah.
Statistically, one of the 9 of you, if not 2, have been molested. I'm talking about statistics-wise. Mm-hmm. Chances are one of the 9 of you have had thoughts of suicide. Mm-hmm. One of you don't feel like you're enough in your partnership, are feeling left behind, like the others are doing well in their careers and I'm not something. Just statistically, that's there. But oftentimes we posture and we don't want to. And so unless we build that and ask, we don't get to go in deep and then maybe help shape each other and pull each other back online, right? If we don't do those things.
Yeah, and I personally, like, I withdrew out of shame for career stuff. I had quit my job as a lawyer a decade ago, and I came out here to chase my dreams, and it just wasn't going that well. So I skipped weddings and I skipped events, and I just didn't want to see people because I felt like when people asked me how I was doing, I didn't want to get into it.
Right.
And I think that's what happens a lot. And so that's where the role of true friend comes in, is like, how do we figure out, A, what's going on with people? That's the first step. How do we even figure out to know what's going on? Now, I will say this. I'll give him a lot of credit. So everybody kind of has a role in the friend group. And Karo has this amazing trait where he lets other friends know what's going on with a friend who's not doing so well, that you may not know about, you may not be thinking to ask everybody. But he's always really good at that, and I think that's super important. Like, you may feel like, oh, should I be sharing this with other people? But I think on the whole, it's better to do so.
It is. It's great that you guys have that. You guys have a podcast about friendship, so you guys might be a step ahead of many of our listeners or many people in the world, men who don't have that to model. But I would suggest to friends, particularly to guys, like when you go and do your bowling night on Wednesday nights, like maybe 10 minutes before you just have a check-in. Like, hey, man, what's been going on with you? You know, how's your marriage?
Yeah.
How such and such. And everyone's got to sit here for a minute. We're not going to talk sports. We're not going to talk about this. Just like, even if it's surface, because the next time it'll go a little bit deeper and deeper because there's an intention behind it.
It's easy to misplace the idea of seeing someone versus speaking to someone. Like, if I see someone weekly, I must know them. Like, I'm seeing you all the time, Andrew. Like, I would know if something was wrong, which is not as being like conscious about checking in, having a conversation, and then hanging out.
Yeah, and we also talk about context for when to do this stuff. If you've decided in your mind that you want to get something out of somebody or you want to share with somebody, especially with guys, we can tend to rib each other. It might not be the right time. Like you're talking about, hey, dedicate this time. If you haven't dedicated the time, it might not be received properly. You're maybe trying to be real with your friends and they're drunk and they're watching a game, and it's like,
that's why it can't be in those settings.
Right, exactly. Because then like you're not going to do it again. Then you're going to be like, oh, well, I tried to share with them and nobody cares. And that's what you're going to feel. Yeah. So I think also you just have to, like what you're talking about, it's like you do a little bit at a time. Like you got to kind of level up the friendship. It doesn't always happen all in one, even if you've decided that's what you want to give or receive.
Yeah,
and sense. I think one thing that often doesn't get talked about in this conversation about male friendship is that there are moments and spaces where men do congregate and get together, but that those spaces aren't always positive. And again, that's not to say that women don't also have, their own issues in the spaces that are female. But yeah, like there's a huge lawsuit in Canada happening right now against the Canadian Hockey League, where thousands of men who have come together to talk about the abuse that they've suffered in locker rooms, and that a lot of this hazing, which honestly at this point is just kind of a euphemism for sexual assault and sexual abuse, and just like the most, if you want to go read, I don't even think I could give you a trigger warning and not traumatize anyone who's listening, because the stuff that is being reported is really awful. And so, Aaron, like, you're a masculine guy.
Thank you.
I feel like a lot of guys, like, you are in these spaces. You go to the gym, you work out. When you, like, how do men actively try and create positivity in these male spaces? And if there is, behavior that shows up that's like not as conducive to not just friendship but like respect, what should men do, or like how do you approach it?
We were both also in fraternities. I'm sure you love fraternities.
There you go.
Should I be offended that you said, Aaron, you're a masculine guy?
Honestly,
is it just because I can't really grow a full beard still at age 43?
Real men can grow beards. Is that what this is?
Matt. Real men can grow beards?
Baby face.
Wow.
Little sprouts coming out there.
That one's gonna leave a mark.
Let's just cut Liz saying that. I just want that for my personal use.
Yeah, put it in your.
She goes. So one of the two, as one of the two of you that is a man.
So Aaron, you're a man.
I'm trying to bring Aaron more into the conversation.
Okay. When Justin did our podcast, he was like, Aaron, you're so quiet. Never in my life has anyone said, Aaron, he doesn't talk enough.
Wow.
Never. Except in the Man Enough MCU.
It's only
interesting.
It's only when he's around me.
Yeah. I know. I am a wallflower compared to Matt. He doesn't shut the fuck up. It's unbelievable. Well, Matt and I, we talk about modeling behavior, right? Like we tend to be, I don't want to say the leaders when we're in a group of guys, but like the sort of more forward guys and like, if shit's not right, you have to say something or just take care of it yourself. I can't say that I've been in a really toxic space with a bunch of men recently. I'm trying to think of an example.
But even like being a leader, right? I think that's a really great way to talk about it, right? That it's not necessarily, again, being like the party pooper or being like, you can't say that. It's just how do you lead and model, right? Because sometimes even if someone says something that's negative, just being extra positive, whatever that looks like in that scenario, I think is one way to do it too, where you're defining the culture of the group, or you're, really taking up space in a positive way.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that we're kind of trying to, I would say we are trying to be leaders of this, is that, we have a younger producer, and we were talking about saying I love you, and it's something that it took me a very long time to be able to do to my friends. And we asked him about it, and he's like, I don't know, I just feel like I see women saying it to each other, and it just feels meaningless, And we were talking about how, like, he was like, I'm just afraid that it won't mean anything. I'm like, if we ever get to the point where men are saying I love you so much to each other that it's meaningless, we're in a very, very, very good
That's a
place.
great point. I love that.
And I think that the culture of male friendship has a lot of needling, and that can tend to like veer into a little bit of bullying, and I can be guilty of it for sure, even at age 43.
Matt's been bullying me. So in fourth grade, Matt used to fill a sock with a bunch of other socks, swing it around and smack me with it and say, homie, don't play that.
It was the Damon
which is
Wayans,
in living
it was
color
the Living
reference.
Color.
Wow.
I really was in character. I wouldn't break character.
Yeah, and he's still doing it.
You had said that he works out, he goes to the gym, he's so manly. And what's interesting is that we couple masculinity so often with manhood. So, like, the fact that you don't grow a beard, we make jokes that you're not as much of a man.
But in that case, it's true, though, right?
In that case, it's true, right? Or if someone doesn't go to the gym or they don't have muscles, or if someone's not tall, or if someone is not aggressive or doesn't play sports. And yet, I would say that, so the guy that's in the gym that's got the big muscles, yes, you're man enough. The guy that doesn't grow the beard and is shorter than the other, or whatever, is man enough. We oftentimes perpetuate this thinking that unless you're this, you're not man enough. And then I think that is one of the reasons why we have this discussion is what is masculinity, and why do we attribute it only to men that are the prototypical man, the Justin Baldoni, that's in terms of size and height and looks and all the stuff. But then he's also super emotional and cries and is soft and speaks, and he's still man enough, right? So it's interesting, just as I was listening to the conversation, that we oftentimes say someone is a man or they're man enough if they have those
I was
things.
really trying to just like pivot to be, I feel like.
Now I'm in.
Yeah.
I have a gym question for you guys. So we have a clip from our podcast that's kind of going viral. I want to get your take, Liz, you specifically. So I was working out. This was like a month or two ago. And after I was like halfway through my workout, a woman...
I heard this. I love this story.
Okay, so a woman started working out, a few feet away, but she was in my existing sight line. Like I was already like looking in that direction, and now she was there. And I was like, well, I to your point, I don't want to be a creep, but I was already, so I'm working on looking at the sky. I'm bumping into stuff, falling over myself not to look at this woman. And, what should I have done in that situation?
No, and I love that the part where after you're like, and then I do this workout and have to look at my phone, and then it looked like I was like filming her, and then I had to move away and like face the wall. I thought that was a really funny moment. I also love, because women have all these neurotic, constant monologues in our heads, and it felt actually really nice to hear that men also like are thinking through all kinds of different scenarios in their, even when they're not even in a relationship with a woman, but when they're within their vicinity. I think, okay, so I tend to think, because of the crisis in loneliness right now, that obviously impacts men disparately, but is affecting everybody, right? Like everyone has less friends, women too. Everyone is having less sex. Everyone is less likely to, gather in these third places. We have less of these third places. And so I am super pro like men hitting on women. Like I just really
Really?
if it's
You're pro that?
I've become much more pro it. And I think that I also am a proponent of anyone talking to anybody. My biggest tip for people is to give a compliment to a person regardless of their gender every single day. Like every single day, just tell someone something that you like. Tell a stranger something, and then it'll just make you more comfortable when it is the moment where like, oh, this person's like attractive, and it kind of like really like now I'm feeling a little nervous. You'll feel much more comfortable doing it. But the gym is a situation where there's you're not wearing a lot of clothes, you're sweaty, you're maybe like feeling vulnerable. So I think like eye contact first, and then get the vibe right. Like if they're just kind of trying to end the conversation, then end the conversation. If they're asking you more questions and, then keep, and again, approach it like you would if it wasn't romantic,
I do think the gym is a tricky one because at least when I go to the gym, it's like, there is this dude at the gym who talks to everyone. And I'm like, bro, don't nobody want to be having these conversations right now. Like, we trying to focus. Like,
well, don't be that guy. Yeah.
But I'm not saying you're that guy, but I'm like, I think the gym is tricky because some people are really in there like, this is my time. This is my box of me-ness.
Yeah.
But the eye contact one is a good tip.
Yeah, we joke because he likes to focus his 45-minute workout, and my trainer and we laugh because I'm like the guy who I do one set and then I chit chat for 10 minutes, and then I do another set and then I chit chat and then I leave.
Yeah, I'm the guy that pays. If I go to the gym and you pay for an hour, and let's say it's $100 for the hour, whatever the number is, I'm like, 60 minutes in is supposed to be the session. 40 minutes in, I'm like, I'll give you another $100 if I can leave now. Just let me leave.
Let's talk about hitting on women, my favorite activity and topic. Women want to be hit on if they like the guy hitting on them.
Yes.
But we don't have any idea if we're that guy yet.
Yes. And we don't know if you're that guy yet because, and this is the issue with online dating is you don't get a vibe, you get a photo or a bunch of photos. And recently I've noticed more people, maybe because I live inside coffee shops, but I have had more like interactions with like men and people in general. And maybe again, it's because I'm open to having them with anybody. And I just appear maybe more open, like I'm smiling and I'm just like looking up, and I don't mind if I make eye contact and it kind of lasts longer than 1 second. But yeah, like sometimes I've not been the most attracted to this person, but then once we start talking, I'm like, oh, he's really funny, and like we're having or like I feel really good in this conversation, and all of a sudden you get a different shift.
What do you think about? So there was a saying that went around a bunch, and it's not actually the best saying, but it was a conversation that a lot of us guys had in terms of dating and hitting on people, which the difference in flirting and harassment is whether or not he's cute.
Yes. Yeah. It's an SNL sketch.
I love that Tom Brady one.
Right.
It was Tom Brady with the sexual harassment training.
Right.
And it's some other guy doing the exact same thing as Tom Brady. It's like that's sexual harassment, and then Brady does it.
It's also John Hamm with the handsome bubble in 30 Rock.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to belittle, of course, like I don't want to have, this is not to belittle harassment of anything of that nature. But even if you have a good intention and you're trying to approach somebody, a woman in this case, depending on how you look, might change how it's received.
Yes.
Or even in friendship, I think. Even like just going up to someone, like if we were in a sports bar and you and I were sharing a burger, I'd have been like, dude, don't talk to me because you know.
Were you guys sharing a Lady in the Tramp style? Like,
No. It comes split in half. So you just you each take a half.
It comes split in half.
You haven't been to Father's office?
No, that's great. I want to be. We're gonna be friends. He likes tennis. He likes the Knicks.
That's right.
Father's office.
Yeah.
Although he can't play tennis anymore.
Well, no, I can play by myself.
By yourself.
Yeah,
Just
I can't play with my partner anymore. It got too heated.
Okay.
That's like you and Jess.
Oh, you mean like because I give my wife constructive. There's no quicker way to get divorced than giving your wife constructive criticism.
All
on
I
a
wanted
tennis
to
court.
do was keep score.
That's exactly what you were saying.
All I wanted to do was keep score, and
that's
it's the
fast
biggest
track.
fight we ever had.
That is the express lane to divorce. Giving she goes, "Are you the fucking tennis coach? That's the tennis coach. That guy's the tennis coach. You are getting a lesson just like me. You're on this side. If you're on that side, otherwise you shut the fuck up."
Miriam.
Did you learn something from that?
Yeah, no. Well, she's just like, I'm not going anymore. She was like, I'm not going anymore.
Similar to you.
Can I? This might be a difficult question. It might not be. This also might be a question for you, Jamie, in your relationship with Justin. My two besties, Afan and Josh, we're all from Queens. One's white, Jewish kid. The other one's Pakistani, fellow brown man. There are things I go to with Afan that I would never go to with Josh. Doesn't mean Josh don't know them. It's just you go to, like me and Afan have a shared experience that Josh will never have. It don't mean Josh is not the homie. Like, I'm seeing him this weekend. I'm flying to New York to hang out with him. I guess one, in your group of 9, is there a body of culture
or color?
Or of color. That's what I call it.
I know, but culture could be could be Philly and New York.
Are there things you feel like, Justin would understand, but they're just not they're not for him.
Right. Well, I don't necessarily wouldn't frame it where they're not for him. But, first question was, is there anybody of color in your
There's an Hispanic guy.
Yeah.
There's an Israeli guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much the extent.
Yeah, I mean, it was a Jewish Long Island town,
That's pretty good for us. That's pretty good.
We have a very multicultural group in LA of friends that we've made in college and post-college and law school.
Of course, yeah.
Life, but that happened to be the geographic where we live.
should also say 3 of the 9 are triplets.
Yeah.
Wow.
From one
What?
family. Yeah.
Wow.
Fraternal triplets.
Wow.
Yeah, and then to answer your question with Justin and I, obviously there is some differences in shared experiences, right? And Justin and I have gone in deep about this because of, especially over the last many years where the BLM matter, Black Lives Matter movement has come about, and Justin cares about things, and he was trying to find his voice, not his feelings about it, but his how he would walk through it and use his voice. So our friendship was really helpful for him to bounce things off and to help reshape. So we're dear, dear brother friends. And yet, I have a group of friends that share my experience that I will certainly hang out with in a different setting or because of that shared experience. But I do think friendships need to be mixed and have different people so that as we walk as men, my mind always is like, how can I be a better man? And it can't just be in this one lane. It has to be all across the board. I want my son to be better than me. I want him to care about women. I want him to care about toxic masculinity, or forget that term, but the stuff. I want him to care. And he will care more if he has friendships with people of other experiences, friendships with women. In that sense, I would then say those spaces, it's not that they're not for Justin. How do I make these spaces comfortable for you? How do I make these spaces your experience now as well? It'll be different than mine, but still be home for you. I think that's important so that we can, bring people together more.
There's definitely spaces that we go to where you would not be comfortable if you had a man bun.
You talking about Justin's man bun?
It's not here. I feel bad. I feel bad.
No. But spaces like what are those spaces?
I don't know.
Everywhere.
Oh, Justin. Oh, they're talking about your man bun. No.
Yeah, I would say, I think this is an interesting one because we joke about how I steal people's friends. Because we say the easiest tip, the number one hack in life
this is good.
Is when you're trying to make new friends, the most obvious, it's staring you right in the face, friends of friends.
Yeah.
If your friend
like
that you
dating.
deeply care about has decided to bring this person into their life, there's a good chance you're going to have a good feeling about this person. You may not have the same stuff, like they may be doing other stuff together, but if your friend invites you into that universe, explore it.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Like we talk about how sometimes you have to meet newer friends where they are. Like I have friends that are more into different music than me, and so I've kind of had to get over it myself a little bit and be like, because it used to be like, that's not my thing, you guys. But it's like, no, if I want to really engage some of these people, sometimes you got to go meet them where they are a little bit. That doesn't mean it has to become your thing. But I think it's like, if you're trying to get to that next level of friendship, you may want to open yourself up to new experiences. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that's one of our hacks because I've stolen all of Karo's friends and now they like me better.
They like you better.
Yeah. 3 of Matt's friends, he's
usurper. They call him Matt the usurper.
He's like a medieval king, Matt the usurper.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Sometimes I'm just like, I can't deal like you, because Matt is a chalk talk all day. I'm just like, I can't deal with it. I did have one follow-up question. Who was your Jewish buddy?
Josh.
If he ever was like, hey man, I want to go to that thing that you guys go to, would you take him?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we were just in Mexico City together 2 weeks ago. Like, we make a plan to constantly, be in the same city or travel together. It's just it's a hard thing to, there is a shared experience that Josh just will never have, being like in a white body.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's sort of lives in the ether, but it doesn't mean Josh is excluded from anything.
Yeah, right.
Like, or is not safe to come into spaces, or, yeah.
I also think, you kind of first realize this when you're growing up and your friends take different professions. And it's like now we have this thing that our friends just totally don't understand. They're not in entertainment and they just don't understand
Civilians.
it. Civilians. They'll never understand it. And like, I just get that. And like some ways sometimes I'm like, I want to feel hurt or something. And then I'm like, no, it's just, my therapist is like, no, that's just them projecting their own fears about this thing they don't totally understand. And like, so I think it's not the same as like, a race or a culture, but I think that's the first time, I think, as an adult, when you start realizing when people are in a different profession, you see them with their doctor friends and you're at a party with them and you're like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I here? I don't belong here. I think
it is that same thing. Like Miriam, calls herself normal people, and then there's the entertainment. There's everyone in the entertainment business, and she's like, "Oh, I'll be with the normals today."
And another tip that we have, I think, that goes into this is that as you get older, you start, being a little bit more realistic about friendships. Is not every person has to be everything. For you. It's not all or nothing. You can have a friend that you just go to art shows with or whatever. You just have a sports bar buddy and maybe you never get to below the surface with that person. And that can be okay. But if you want, somebody that you want to have that deeper friendship with, sometimes you have to try to explore some of the things that they're into. And you may never be like, you're not going to become a doctor because they're a doctor, but maybe you go to their parties and you meet some of their friends and you feel like you're a little bit part of that world enough so that it helps keep that friendship feel like, oh, I'm not losing this person.
And get free medical advice.
Yeah, that's important. He loves doctors.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because just to go back on like hitting on women in public, I think one of the best tips I can give men is to de-romanticize that interaction, right? Like if a guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, I think you're really attractive and I saw you, then I'm like, oh God, this is so much pressure. Am I attracted to this person? There's like all of this kind of heat and I just, because of the society that we live in, all I want to do is actually like move away from you because I don't know if you're safe. I don't know what's going on. Whereas like when a guy just comes up to me and has a normal conversation with me as if I was a guy, like, oh, I like your shoes. Where'd you get them? Or, oh, cool. What are you reading? Like, that looks really interesting. Or like, do you see the lineup here? Like, this is so crazy. This coffee shop really, like whatever. Then suddenly I feel like we can just have an interaction and I don't have to figure out if I like you yet. And it's, there's something actually like so cool about that. And it makes me think about this thing that we've brought up in this podcast, which is, the importance of romanticizing our friendships and fraternizing our relationships. And I think that for men, right? Like I feel so much better when I'm in relationship with a man who is like wants to be my friend and wants to get to know me as he would with another man. And it's not just about the romantic and the sex stuff. And I wonder, for men, what does it look like for you to romanticize your friendships with other men? How do you, how would you navigate remaining friends with Chris after this cool, friendly interaction? How do you move into having more intimacy with another man?
Yeah. No, first of all, I love what you said about just let's normalize having interactions with people. I love that de-romanticizing. So just like I go to coffee, I've turned my neighborhood into like we have a local coffee group that we go, and that's like a thing where it's not about sports or about anything. It's just about checking in and talking and whatever. Yeah. But it just started with normal human interactions that we so desperately need, and we're so having so few in a day or a week. You go a week without talking to another human being, and that's just so not natural. But I love that. But I'm going to ask him to watch. I have the League Pass. I'll be like, yeah, you want to come over and have a beer and watch the League?
Got League Pass too. Let's do it. We'll trade.
So like a common interest that you both kind of talked about.
One. Yeah,
right.
It helps if you've already kind of revealed that you have a common shared interest. But we also talk about making every occasion with our friends a special occasion now, because as you get older, you just have a limited amount of time. I have a baby on the way, and that's got to be my priority. And it's like your family has to be number one, and the work has to be number two. And then however little time you have, you can divvy it up however you see fit. and you're just not going to see, as you get older, you're just not going to see as many people as frequently. So we do talk about how making every occasion a special occasion in some way, just in your mind. It doesn't have to be like, hey, we got to, have this expensive, fancy dinner. But I think in your mind, you're just going, it's so great that we're getting to do this, and we should not take it lightly.
Yeah, but
That's what
that
I
is
think about.
the Peter Luger thing is a romantic thing. Like, it's a nice restaurant and going out. It is kind of a date, right? That you guys are treating it like it's special.
That bill is a romantic bill. That's a Valentine's Day bill.
Yeah.
There's one thing you mentioned, which I also want to bring up as a good hack to meeting new friends. So we've talked about the third place, which is a place besides home and work where people socialize. But me and Matt also talk about the third thing, which is that when you are approaching someone, whether a romantic interest or a guy, the first thing is saying, hey, I'm Aaron, blah, blah, blah. The second thing would be like, oh, I like your Knicks shirt. The third thing is talking about a third thing. The game, the lineup outside.
Right.
And that is what we try to tell guys if you want to like talk to a new guy. Just the person parallel parking in front of you who's like, so that sort of deconflicts the whole thing.
Wow, I love that.
I like the shared parallel between that and your like everyone get in the practice of complimenting someone each day, man or woman. Like I like your shirt. I like this.
It's easy.
I wish men wore more
shirts.
Shirts. Yeah, more shirts, more stuff. We talk about how an invitation, a logo or something like your school team or whatever, that's an invitation for convo.
Yes.
And women know that.
Yes.
Men don't totally know that yet. Like, that's an invite.
Or if you go to a party and you wear like a little weird accessory, you're going to have something to talk about with, like, everyone will have like, you can just, I mean, if it's yours, it's a little hard to like start a conversation about your own accessory, but that's my first go-to. If someone's wearing something, I was like, oh, that was really cool earrings, or like, oh, I really like this like jelly in your hair. I mean, would be weird.
Peacocking, basically.
Yes.
And we joked about how you can also compliment on tattoos, but you got to be careful. It has a date on it. It's probably somebody dead in the family.
Okay, got it. Say off. Yeah.
Have y'all done any friend breaking up?
Yeah.
Oh, good question.
When and how does that, if we're talking about the romanticism of friendships, when do you break up? Or is it your job to preserve as long? Or what is sort of, how do you navigate
when
that?
do you know if you should break up?
Have you guys ever?
Yeah. Oh, I had a friend break up with me. I think when friendships don't serve you, I mean, you really have to take stock of them every now and then. I think we're not taking stock of our friendships enough. And so sometimes you just perpetuate toxic friendships. And at some point, like if you're getting, first of all, people who don't show up, who flake, like to me, as I get older, I'm like, 90% of friendship is just saying you're showing up where you said you were going to be.
Yeah.
If I made dinner plans, that means I can't there's nobody else I can pick up on a Saturday night at 9:00 to go get together with now. Now now my night's ruined. I mean, I think we talk about friendship red flags all the time.
Yeah, showing up is the number one for me. Also, I like a timely text reply. If you don't reply to my text very timely, you're done. You're out.
Cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Out?
Yeah. I know. I mean,
what's that time? What's that window?
Yeah.
Like 45 seconds? Like, what are you doing? I know you're not doing anything. But no, I think I've only really recently ended a friendship with someone who just had a 40th birthday and didn't even respond to the invitation, let alone not coming.
Right.
So that was done.
Wait, hold on. This is a friend of yours.
Yes.
That you share friendship for some years or a period of time.
Yeah.
Didn't respond to it.
Yeah.
And that was enough to end the friendship.
But it was in a series. Then, to Matt's point, we went to a third friend's, had a movie premiere. And that same guy didn't show up to that guy's thing. I mean, he's not showing up to this movie premiere or my birthday. That was it. 2 things he was done.
How do you know he wasn't having a hard time?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
What's the difference? When do you be like, what's going on?
I followed up with some third parties and no, his girlfriend doesn't like him to whatever. He's been really busy. I'm like, fuck that. You can't respond to an email.
You never know what anyone's going through.
He wasn't going through anything. He was fucking fine.
I agree. I do agree. You don't ever know. I tend to be on the very I will give you a lot of chances. But I also got broken up with this. This is 10 years ago. But I was a bad roommate and I was disrespectful. And I only realized it later on. And I tried to apologize and repair it. And he accepted the apology, but then didn't want to restart it or whatever. And I realized that's right. That's fine. That's okay. I think the apology and the acceptance was really good. But then you don't have to then try and piece it back together. That's okay.
It's so funny because there are so many things that I will put up with in a romantic relationship that if a friend, like I will not give chances to friends in the way that I will to, people who don't necessarily, deserve it. But because, there's an intimate connection there, it makes you, I don't know, does it make you stick around for longer? Or again, I think we don't know how to argue with our friends. Like we almost think like it shouldn't be, if you're arguing with your significant other, you're like, this is normal. This is what marriage is. It's a 10, 15 year conversation. But with friends, it's almost like, oh, this must mean I shouldn't be friends with them. When it's like, no, actually, you probably need to have a conversation and then you'll both grow from it in the way that you do in a romantic,
But I also was going to say, like, as you get older, like, you don't have to stay friends with anybody if it's not making you feel good. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you see a friend, you should feel good when you see like that initial reaction is like your instincts are usually right. If you don't feel good, like when you see this person, if you feel judged or whatever, like life is too short.
Yeah.
I think that in relationships too. Like that idea of romanticizing the friendship. Just
Yeah, it's interesting. There's one friend that I have that I've known since we were 10 who I'm not his favorite person anymore. And it's interesting to hear what you had said, which is tough for me because I don't not have friendships with anybody. There's no one that I'm not friends with. There's people that are in my inner circle, and then there's your middle circle and outer circle. And for me, it's like if you don't hit me back for 3 months and I text you to my birthday, I'm like, okay, he's busy. This for me, it's not a reflection.
I don't like that.
I get it. Right,
I'm like you. I'm like
okay,
too.
whatever. I may not invite you to the next thing because I don't think you're going to show up.
Yes.
But that's not the stock that I hold in our friendship, right? And I do that with each individual. It's like it's not personal to me. People got lives. They got stuff going on.
That's not really a friend then. That's just some person.
Well, for me, it's a little bit different. I think friendships are different types of friendships, and people have different stuff going on. And they also learn the value of friendship differently from their parents, from their friends, the expectations. But what I heard from you is I'm now thinking of a friend that I've known since I was 10, and then he kind of cut me out. And for me, it was like, why do you cut me out? It was so trivial. But what it was I wasn't able to show up for him in a few instances that were important to him. But most other friends didn't really need that. I don't need that.
Right.
So for me, it was like, oh, so sorry, I couldn't, I was busy. I've got kids. I was going through a divorce. I was going through life, blah, 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 blah. But for him, that's how friends show up. And that's what meant, and now since then, I haven't been able to reconnect with him. But now what I've learned in hearing you, it's like you would end a friendship over that, even though maybe there's some depth to it beyond him not showing up. And now I'm thinking, my buddy Mike, I won't say your last name, but if you're listening, we were friends since we were 10 for years and years.
Should you send a video message to Mike?
Send a video message to someone they love.
Mike, we miss you.
That would be too. I wouldn't want to put him on blast, but I'm learning. I just learned like, oh, that's why he was able to cut me out for that. And it's important to just think about that. But aside from that, friends to me are just are you have inner circle ones, you have middle circle stuff, and I have no reason to cut anybody out other than I don't want to hang out with them because they don't make me feel good. They backbite so much or they gossip about stuff that they're not real kind to other people. But he's a friend of mine.
But I like what you just taught. We sort of got to this place of like every friend has different needs, right? And every friend has different metrics, right?
That's right.
So we don't have an objective like this is where you break up with a friend. It's got what do you need? I have a friend who has not been able to show up for me in any real meaningful way in a couple of years, and I know that it's because he's in a bad place with his general happiness. And I remember when I was withdrawing, like I know that's where he is. And so I'm just like I want to see him get to the other side of that.
It almost seems like there's more energy to end a friendship than it is just to like when I see you, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, good, everything's fine. But to actually now I've cut you out. We are not friends anymore.
Well, I didn't actually say anything. I just ghosted and never spoke to me.
Classic.
Because I am man enough. Okay.
Right, damn it.
Are you a Scorpio?
What do you think?
What's your sign?
What do you think?
I think this is giving me Scorpio energy, but I might be wrong.
I'm the opposite of what I should be.
Are you a Pisces?
I'm Gemini.
Gemini.
Oh,
What am I?
That
Whatever
makes
this stuff
sense.
means.
That makes sense?
Well, because you're two, it's like you're either one or the other.
But you
There's
thought he
no
was a
between.
Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio.
Well, Oh, you're a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio?
All this Scorpio
Okay.
stuff.
What am I?
I feel like you're like a Libra or Virgo.
No.
Aquarius.
It's almost like it's
I'm a Leo.
You are?
I'm a
Okay,
Leo
this makes no
too.
sense.
Hey.
I'm
Because it's
destabilized.
all
Bullshit?
nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Okay, one thing I actually love about male friends, a lot of my closest friends are actually men. And I think it's because I do the thing that your friend did, where I get overwhelmed with texts. I not always able to respond. I isolate. I do all the things that make it, I mean, I don't do all the things, but I definitely, my behavior in friendship doesn't always align with like who I would want, like the amount of things I would want to be able to do for people. And I find my male friends are much more flexible and don't put so much weight into, I didn't respond when you needed me to respond. We talk a lot about how men can learn from women and the way that women do friendships, but I also have always thought that women can also learn a lot from, men and the way that they do friendships. And so I guess my question is, how do we do friendships intergenderly? Like, do you approach friendships differently with women?
Yeah, I mean, I also have a best friend, female best friend from second grade that Matt's also friends with.
That was a good year.
Yeah, second grade.
Wow.
Man.
Second grade.
Honestly.
Vibes.
Yeah, I moved there in second grade.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's when it started.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I was living my great life. All of a sudden, I'm getting hit with a sock. And here's Matt.
I blew that whole neighborhood up.
God, what's interesting because I'm.
Or like, have you noticed that women do friendship differently, or just anything that you find interesting?
Well, we did an episode about this, how we wish men had kind of like this cheer squad the way women form.
Right,
they form this, like, it's not just about like, oh, I have these friends. Like, they have like it's almost like a designated like crew of like when you're getting a new job or you're starting to date somebody, like you've got your posse, you've got your cheer squad. Like a man's like, oh, I'm seeing this new girl. Like, okay, cool, dude. Like, whatever.
Wow.
I'm just saying, like, there isn't like that.
The Instagram comments under a woman's post
the way
about
the
a new
the way a
job.
woman birthdays for their friends, like, you are the most beautiful flower, the strongest seed that has ever been planted on the earth. 1 ounce of water has made you into the most flowering bloom, and then
it's like, that. And actually, sometimes I felt like my female friendships are so rich and profound and intimate that it makes being in relationships with men actually harder because the standard that women have set in my life of the way that they celebrate me and see me is like, it's hard to find a man that can match
Aaron does that. Aaron's the only man I know who, when it's your birthday, he's like, you are the most fierce, flowering, beautiful butterfly. You spread your wings across this great earth. Nothing can stop you today.
That's great.
I love that.
You guys have such dear friendship, clearly. Thanks for sharing it with us all. And
love you, buddy. I love you too.
I love that. Well, that's exactly what I was going to wonder, if something of that nature, just modeling. I would love to hear you guys, one of you tell the other, if not back, something, why you love them so much.
I feel like Matt's really good at this. Matt really embodies that, like, I feel like the term is thrown about, like, would give you the shirt off your back. I feel like Matt is really sort of almost like the patriarch of our sort of friend group here, where, like, people know they can go to him or his wife if they need something or need help, or he calls himself Gatsby because he plans a lot of stuff at his house. I call him Ratsby because I'm like, get over yourself. But he is really someone, like, if you got to call Matt, if you need something, like, he's going to show up. Very reliable and very generous.
Thank you. I will bury a body for you.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, if it's what's the word, like, illegal, or like if you're like, shit I need someone.
Yes.
Matt's the guy.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, there's I could go on and on, but
we got time.
I think at its core for me, it's like Aaron knows me so deeply, like my flaws and my strengths, and it's like he knows what I need as a person, and like he just like helps me guide my way through life. Like when I moved to LA, like I was totally lost, and I would still be lost, but like even to this day, like I just always know that if I have something I'm struggling with, like he's the first person to talk it through with me, and he will give me like way more time than I deserve sometimes, like just doesn't matter. Call him at 6 a.m. with a question, and he's just like ready to go, as if like it's not an imposition in any way ever. And he treats all of his friends that way. Like anytime he's acting like he was joking about cutting people out, but I mean, he knows everything that's going on in everybody's life, and he shares that with everybody, and he enriches your life just not only through what he brings to his own person, but the people he brings into your life. He's just a giver. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Can I add another one about Matt?
Please.
He knows every pop culture reference. I've never made a joke in my 35 years that Matt didn't get. Wow. Many other people didn't get them. And Matt's, that 1980s. I mean, he does stuff that I don't fucking know what he's talking about. He has his 1980s movie knowledge. But every political, he's well read. He knows everything. It's great. It's a great audience because you're going to get every reference.
This is true.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay,
also, I know that Aaron. Also know that like Aaron. I have to say, look, I'm a very happily married man, and I know that like, if anything like ever, like if I'm out of town or anything ever happened to me, like Aaron's like already like he's already there, like Johnny on the spot. Like he'll take care of my wife, my friends, my family. Like he's just a rock. You know what I mean? He's the rock of our.
Did Jess tell you that? So Matt was just away for the weekend, and I just unsolicited. I don't know if she told you. I was like, let me know. Like Matt's gone. Like you're 8 months pregnant.
I didn't even know that, but like it's so amazing that like I didn't even have to know that. Like I know that.
She goes, "Why is he off with his loser friends on 8 months?"
I went
pregnant?
to the NBA All-Star weekend.
Like, why is he off? I'm so pregnant. I'm like, you let me. I thought I might have to take her to the hospital.
Yeah.
She's fine.
I was like, is this too late? I only got the hall pass because my nephew was going, and my 13-year-old nephew. Okay. That was the only. It was like a family boys trip.
Well, I'm glad you guys did that. I think it's really important that we share with each other why you're so special to me. One, because it's good for them to know, to confirm, and also it's good to hear that you're showing up for somebody well and why they appreciate you. In fact, why don't we just real quick?
I want to hear what you guys.
15 seconds or less, just so it's quick. Pick somebody out, a friend, not your spouse or your partner, someone in your life as a friend. Name them and tell them what about them, why they're such a dear friend to you. Go.
I can start. It's going to be Afan and Josh. I'm going to text them right after this, and I'm going to tell them it is incredible that I have known them as long as I have, which is not as long as y'all have known each other. And I cannot wait to hit 35 years and 40 years and 50 years because every time I see them, I smile.
That's great.
Beautiful.
I'm going to say my friend Mateen, who... Oh my God, like I feel emotional. He is work wife in my phone because we worked together at Vox many moons ago. And he is just a brother to me. Like a true, I don't have a brother, but like if I did, that would be what it feels like, where we don't have to talk all the time. He hasn't responded to my last 2 texts.
What?
Because he works in media and wakes up at 5 a.m. at NPR and like has a life, and I totally get it. So we don't need to always talk to each other, but I always know that he's there for me, and I always feel like he has time. Like no matter what is going on with me, like I never feel like he's trying to get off the phone or trying to get somewhere. Like I feel like I have his full attention.
Unless he's not texting you.
Yes.
Right? You're up.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Yeah.
All right. The quick version, I will pick my ex-wife.
Wow, I fucking love you.
Tara, who is still one of my best and dear friends, who shows up in the world, who shows up for our son, who shows up for my wife and for my children now. Reminds me that even though we didn't stay together, of my worth and my value and how good of a husband I've become to my wife now, and how you show up for all the friends around you. I love you. Good friend. Man, that got me.
Yeah.
I was going to pick my brother-in-law, Teddy, because he's fantastic, and I wanted to say something about him, but Tara popped in.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right, let's ask our wrap-up question, if you don't mind, now that we've talked about all this stuff.
Fellas, what does it mean to be man enough?
Probably should have known this question was coming. I'm panicking.
I can feel the pondering.
Well, look, for me right now, I'm having a son in a month. So for me, being man enough is just being honest about my fears in life and, trying to really like reflect on my life up until this point, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and just, take in the lessons and try to apply them to the rest of my life going forward so that, I'm sure my son's going to have his ups and downs too, but so that I could just kind of be man enough to, give him and kind of take away some of those obstacles by, just overcoming some of my own fears.
I would say being man enough means being kind. Something that doesn't always come naturally to guys. And if more guys would just be kind, I think we'd probably be in a lot better place.
Beautiful. You know what I love? When we ask the question, the silence, the thoughtfulness that you guys were having. Oftentimes we have a quick answer, and those are wonderful as well. But you really took care to think about what it meant, and that was sweet to see.
Yeah.
And also, Matt, I can't wait to babysit your kid.
You know what he's gonna be? He's gonna be a good Uncle Karo. He's gonna be a good Uncle Karo, even though he doesn't love dogs. That's
why would you bring that up at the end? I do like dogs.
Cut that out. He loves dogs.
He likes
we just
dogs.
did a pet episode this week. He's getting a lot of hate.
It's the owners. It's the owners I don't like.
It's the owners.
They don't text you back in time.
They don't text you back.
Yeah,
that's great. All right, let's head out of here. How do we close this out, Liz? What do you think?
I think we close out by thanking Matt and Aaron for joining us, for sharing their incredible friendship with us, and all of these really actionable tips, right? That this isn't just like talking about the problem, but actually pointing out all of the solutions that are actually really easy to implement. Not to say that this is not going to be hard the first time you go up to a stranger. Thank you for providing solutions to something that's going to help so many people just connect with each other, and sharing yourselves with us fully.
Can't wait to go to the gym tomorrow morning. Oh,
Yes,
those ladies.
let us know.
Oh, those ladies. Lots of eye contact.
Eye contact.
Do you want to
and
get married?
de-romanticize it.
De-romanticize.
Do you want to be married and have?
Yes.
You do.
That's the ancillary thing that the podcast is about friendship, but really the secret goal is to also
Get him married.
Get him a
Yeah,
wife.
All right.
I love this.
Single ladies, reach out to Liz Plank.
Yes.
She will filter them
Go in my
and then
DMs.
send it to me.
This is my dream.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love
Amazing,
that.
amazing. All right, for all of you that have listened to us, thanks for joining us. We will be back next week. You can follow us on where?
Spotify, Apple,
That's right. Go to
manenough.com/podcast.
manenough.com/podcast.
Yeah, type it out.
You know it.
in your browser.
Type it out. Thank you, Chris, for joining us as a guest host.
Thank you for having me.
Looks like you're replacing Justin.
No, I can't replace that man bun.
That's right. Can't
Come
replace
on.
the man bun. Justin, we missed you. All right, we'll see you next time. For now, I'm Jamie Heath,
I'm Liz Plank.
And Christopher Rivas.
and this is Man Enough.